Is the offensive line room getting ready to undergo an overhaul? I think Jack Bicknell will be out soon. I'll explain why. Let's get into this.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia. Thank you guys so much for being here as we dive into another action-packed episode talking Mountaineer football. The regular season has ended. The offseason is officially in play. The portal is opening, and coaching changes and moves are happening. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. The number one sports podcast network in the world right now. Over 50 million views last month. Second time that's happened in company history. Very proud of that. That's a lot of views. 50 million views in a month with Locked On. So we're really crushing it right now. And it's all because of you guys and your support. Couldn't do it without you. This one's going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. And right now with FanDuel, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com to place your live NFL bets all season long. On this episode, here's what we're doing. Obviously, we have to talk about the playoff performances that some West Virginia commits are having right now. We have some elite football players coming in this year, and a couple of those kids are playing really well in the playoffs right now. We're going to check that out. But before we do that, we obviously want to talk about Jack Bicknell and why I think he'll be gone. As a matter of fact, I really do. I almost want to go with the no, but I don't want to go that far just yet. And then who would be the best replacement as we hopefully get an O-line overhaul. So here we go. This is just my personal what I've with people I've spoken to that believe some similar things as well. And we had about 5 coaches with 1-year contracts coming into the year, right? We do that. We knew that a lot of these guys were temporary, bridge, because West Virginia and if you just use your noggin a little bit, Rich Rodriguez and company got in late. They were hired late December. Not only was the high school class, they had to try to re-recruit Neal's guys, but on top of that, the first portal period was over, and coaches that were available had already been moved around a lot. Or the coaches that were left had, you're picking over, right? And Rich Rod was still able to make some splash moves, but you had to flip Zac Alley from Oklahoma. You had to get Larry Porter from North Carolina. You had to do a lot to put together a coaching staff and have it be what it was last year. But we knew that a lot of these guys were going to be sticking around long, and Larry Porter was just the first domino to fall in what should be a few coaching moves, we think. So what does that mean? Well, I think Jack Bicknell at some point will be one of those coaching moves. I don't know if it'll be now. I don't know if it'll be in January. I don't know exactly the timeline for this. I don't know I doubt they're going to want to recruit portal without a guy in place. So I would imagine you start with, probably sometime between now and Christmas, or in January, maybe January 1st or something, but you need to get somebody in ASAP. I think moves need to be happening. And my reasoning for this is pretty simple. Jack Bicknell is one of the worst offensive line coaches, this is just my opinion, that we've ever had. Obviously, you guys are aware of this article that I've gone to a couple times from this year from former Pittsburgh Steelers offensive lineman Johnny Michalczik, saying that the Steelers offensive line room was in utter turmoil as former coach Jack Bicknell when he was in Pittsburgh during the Killer Bees eras. This dude sucked, he says. And a lot of others, I have everything he says. He said this dude sucked. So it's Johnny Michalczik. If you don't know who that was, he was released by Jack Bicknell on September 2013, when Jack Bicknell came in to replace one of the GOATs of all time, as far as O-line coaches go, and Mike Munchak. And his criticism targets Jack Bicknell, who had come in only one season in 2013 before he was replaced by Munchak. The direct quote is this dude sucked. He said, Jack Bicknell had the room in complete and utter turmoil and said that Bicknell couldn't get the room together during the time when you had Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, Marquise Pouncey, one of maybe the greatest center in Steelers history, Le'Veon Bell, one of the greatest running backs in Steelers history, and they went 8-8, missed the playoffs, and Ben Roethlisberger got sacked a league high 40-something times that year and the most of his career. He said he blamed the back-end mismanagement for screwing things up and being too political, refused to changing guys out, playing the same lineups over and over. Does this sound familiar to you? I don't know about the political parts of this, but we saw the same lineup week after 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 week. It got to the point to where I think we thought there was some kind of rib happening here, some kind of trick being played on us. By the time week 6 got here, Kimo Michalczik was the last, not one of the last rated guard in all of America. The worst guard in America. Not Power 4, not Group of 5. We're talking about the worst guard in college football played for West Virginia this year, and he started in week 12. Somebody make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. Ty Crawford, I told you guys before the year ever started, what did his offensive line coach tell me? He has a hard time remembering the play sometimes. Sometimes it's moving too fast for him. And then you put him in an up-tempo offense. Well, if you've got guys that don't know what the hell they're doing beside a guy like that, it's disaster. And you put those two next to each other, it was a disaster of epic proportions. And did we ever see him mix the lineup up? Oh, once or twice. What was the one time they did? Oh, it was Houston. We beat a top 25 team. Imagine that. This dude's trash, man. If this dude isn't replaced, we should probably revolt. It's almost to that point. In all seriousness, we would have to support it, but I would not be very happy with that decision. And, things I'm hearing anyways from people that I talk to, there seems to be that Larry Porter was the first domino in a couple of things that are going to happen. And most people are expecting Bicknell to be one of those dominoes. So I decided to go ahead and put a list together of coaches I think would replace him and all that, because there's so much on Bicknell that, so if you look at his 20-something years in coaching, he's had 2 years of 9 wins. He's never had 10 as a coach. He's had a couple years of 8-8, but it's like 13 or 14 years. I have to go back and look. You can look it up. It's real easy to look. If you just look up on his Wikipedia, you can see every year he's ever coached and what the record is. It's the vast majority, well over 50% into the 60 or 70% of the years that he's coached in his life have been they've been 6 and 7, 5 and 5 and 8, those kind of teams, and some really bad teams. He was also a really bad head coach when he was just gifted the Louisiana Tech job 3 years into his coaching career. 3 years into his coaching career, he got the Louisiana Tech job because his dad's one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time. So he had the great Jack Bicknell as, I've done a lot of research into this. But, in all seriousness, though, I'm not saying he's not an average coach, but that's at best. He's an average coach, in my opinion. You can't convince me otherwise. You could. I don't care if you were Warren Sapp trying to tell me that you played against him. After what I saw this year, the decisions that were made as far as just take how the line performed out of it, which was the worst we've ever seen. Take just the lineups, and the never-changing lineups made no sense. There's no way you can convince me those were the best 5 when we literally watched it happen versus Houston when Michalczik was hurt. So I don't want to hear it. And there were probably other guys that deserved to play, and now we're seeing guys like Robbie Martin enter the portal. I've had other people tell me they were going to enter the portal. Their parents told me if he sticks around. So we'll see what happens here. But this dude has been straight trash, man. And I think he's probably a nice guy. But God, man, I mean, we just can't keep a guy like this around who has no winning background, no winning pedigree, no winning culture. I didn't expect the opening to take 10 minutes. We'll go to break. I put my passionate goggles on, Dad. No, in all seriousness, though, somebody should clip that and just put it online. Me just saying, I put my passionate goggles on, Dad. And then people would laugh at that. All right. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and go to break now, and then we'll get to the list of guys. We've got the big names. You guys know who you're talking about. Obviously, do you want a little Garen Justice? Do you want a little Stan Check? Do you want a little Trickett? We've got them all in there. We've got them broken down. Where are they at? What are they doing? What's the likelihood? We'll talk about it next. You don't want to miss it. Stick around here on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at Aura Frames. And with Aura Frames, if you don't know, now you know. Glory, glory. Right now with Aura Frames, the holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap. No. It's a way to share memories. Aura isn't just your average picture frame. You can reload and preload the frame with photos before gifting it. So when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches or anything like that. You just get instant smiles. If Grandpa Carruthers doesn't know how to work his smartphone, you can just hand him one of these frames. If your dad is somebody that grew up in the country like my dad, you could hand him one of these frames. Or if you got newlyweds that have lived off the grid, you can give them one of these frames. They don't have to worry about figuring out how to deal with it. Endless photos, man. You can have endless uploads up to pictures and 30-second videos as well with the Aura app. So it's basically a holiday gift that actually gets used and not forgotten in a drawer. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com, where you can use $35 off Aura Frames' best-selling carbon matte frames, named number one by the publication Wirecutter. If you want to use the promo code COLLEGE at checkout, that's AURA frames.com, promo code college. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and frames sell out fast. Order yours now and get in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning Locked On West Virginia at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply. In segment 2, I crack a do. That's just what I do. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. It's just like one bite. Everybody knows the rules. It's the same thing. Literally the same logic path. Segment 2, I crack a do. So if you want a coach in here that is going to change things, obviously there's a couple of names in here that would all work. I mean, all these guys to varying degrees would work. I think you start with Rick Trickett. You know, he's the easiest one. I have spoken to people within the last month that have spoken to him, and I think there's still a chance here. If you pay attention to Jack State, they continue to lose their guys to the portal, right? And I think he's realized that no matter where he's at, this is going to happen to him. So don't be surprised if Rich doesn't maybe make one more Hail Mary his way. Now, I don't know if he has anybody else in mind before Rick. If Rick's number one, I think there's actually a chance now, per somebody I've spoken to that's spoken to him, and you can take that with how you want to take it, but they told me they spoke directly to him. This is somebody that would absolutely know 1,000% without questioning it. You would, if you knew who this person was, you would be, oh, okay. So, you know, the conversation that was had was, don't say no. It's not never. It's not 100% at this point. So that he would say no. So I think there was a chance he would listen. The age obviously is a big question here, right? And I think is he 80, close to 80, maybe 81? I mean, he's an older guy. But he still works out. He's still very much in shape. He does. I don't know exactly what he does, but from what I understand, he still works out a lot and is in very good shape. Better shape than me, I'm sure, right? we know he's a legendary offensive line coach. He's got decades upon decades of experience. He's been a lead everywhere he's ever been, whether that's Florida State, LSU, Auburn, West Virginia, or Jack State, and he's a West Virginia boy. He's currently at Jacksonville State, where he's making $120,000 a year. So just give him the Bicknell $450,000 and tell him to come on home. Like, that's simple. It's basic math, man. It's the easy win if you want that win. I do have a hard edge meter for each coach. For Trickett, it's technique and coaching is a 9.5 out of 10. Experience level is 9.5 out of 10. As a recruiter, he's not as elite, but he's good, 7 out of 10. Scheme fit, 9.5 out of 10. And affordability is 7.5 out of 10. Total composite, 43 out of 50 hard edge meter, although he is hard edged. But on the hard edge impact meter, I think he's at a 43. So you get to a couple guys here that, I think you have varying degrees of potential as far as whether they will come or not. Matt Moore is obviously on that list, right? He's an experienced O-line coach. He's had good Power 5 tenures. He's been good in the run game. Obviously, Virginia Tech struggled last year, so some people may be a little off on him. I mean, it was one season. It's not like he had time to build it there, but you did take a lot of guys with you. Should have gave you a head start. The big thing about bringing him in is you could potentially get some of the guys we lost back, and whether or not you think they're worth it or not, I think that Kyle Altuner is only going to get better, so I do think he would be worth it. But overall, this is a group that you have to think would be decent to bring in. He's more along the lines of, that would be a good hire, but not an incredible hire like Trickett. Obviously, we know he built West Virginia's offensive line that was one of the best rushing teams in the Big 12 in 2023, 2024. But, it's just not the splash I think we need at this point in time for this upcoming year, unless there's extra ties into it. But I think he would do a good job. I do. On the hard edge meter for him, impact as far as if he came to West Virginia. And there is some kind of, speaking of that term, he kind of made fun of it on social media. So I don't know if he's even an option. I don't know. But 39.5 out of 50 is what I have. Teaching or coaching, I got an 8 out of 10. Experience, 8 out of 10. Recruiting, 7.5 out of 10. Scheme fit, 8 out of 10. And affordability is 8 out of 10. I think he's just your middle of the road, okay kind of get right now. One that a lot of people have mentioned that I haven't seen tossed around a bunch, but I have seen the name is Ron Crook. He's a veteran O-line coach as well. Ton of Power 5 experience, got some NFL experience. He's currently at Nevada. He just went to Nevada. So he's probably very willing to come back to West Virginia if that's the guy you want. He was at Virginia Tech, and unfortunately that situation fell apart. Man, they had some elite offensive lines at Stanford with him. Elite offensive lines at Stanford. He was also there at Cincinnati when they were pretty good. And obviously he had Skylar Howard and company at West Virginia when we were really good there too. So, I mean, this is a guy, man, that you could definitely see being a big time pickup again. He didn't forget, and he made $500,000 a year last year at Virginia Tech. So could you give him that to come back to West Virginia? Absolutely. You could probably get him for less. Obviously, the ties are that he coached at West Virginia in 11 and 12. And he's obviously a fit for Rich Rod's scheme if you need him to do that. Hard edge meter for him, technique 8.5, experience 8.5, recruiting 8.0, scheme fit 7.5, and affordability is an 8 for a 40.5 out of 50. Now, here's one that most everybody wants, including me. If I could just pick somebody, maybe this guy. We're talking about Herb Hand. Obviously, we know the experience he has, right? Super experienced offensive line coach with a reputation for not only player development, but for recruiting. He's a very energetic guy. If you get a chance to look at him on social media, he's out there on that stuff. He's been an offensive line coach at Florida State since December of 24. His previous O-line, it was at UCF, 23 and 24. He was at Texas from 18 to 20. He was at Auburn from 16 to 17. He was at Penn State from 14 to 15. He's also been to Vandy, Tulsa, and others. But he's been really good wherever he's been. Now, Florida State, they didn't have the greatest O-line last year, but there's something wrong with that whole – I don't know what all that was. Florida State's a weird situation over there right now. He's making $600K right now. So, no direct ties to West Virginia, obviously, but he does have Big 12 and SEC experience, which means he probably knows what some spread option is. He would definitely be an upgrade over Bicknell for sure, and he would be a premium cost guy. And you're talking about he's got the Florida ties. He's been recruiting there for years with UCF and Florida State, exactly where we need him to be with Rich Rod and company. And which is why he had technique and coaching 8.5, experience 8.5, recruiting is a 9 for him, scheme fit is an 8, and affordability is a 7. He's expensive, 43 out of 50, in my opinion. So, there's a couple other guys you can get into here, and this is where it starts to get to the point of I don't really think. I don't know, right? Like, okay, we'll just go through a couple of them. Ryan Stanchek just got fired by UTEP today. I highly doubt that you're going to take a guy that just got fired today from UTEP. So he's got the background with West Virginia. He had some good offensive lines at Tulsa specifically. You Southern Miss. So it's not like he can't do the job. And you were at UTEP. It's like, that's a hard job. But at the end of the day, man, you got to be able to build an offensive lineup. Now, how long was he there? Looks like he's only been there since February of 24. Is that enough time when all your people leave year after year? Probably not. And he would probably do a good job. Only bet $165,000 at UTEP, well below what Bicknell makes at $450K. He's obviously a West Virginia alum. I think he would scratch that itch for a lot of people. And you would be giving somebody a big chance. This is too big of an opportunity for somebody to fumble those. So I've got him at a 36.5 out of 50 on the meter. Technique and coaching is a 7.5. Experience is a 7. Recruiting is a 7. Scheme fit is a 9 out of 10. Portability is also an 8 out of 10. So it's a 38.5 out of 50. He's affordable, all that stuff. Phil Trautwein is a guy that, I thought West Virginia might have a chance at until he went to a Florida interview yesterday. So it's very unlikely that he would pick West Virginia over Florida. And they're going to give him close to $1 million a year. At Penn State, I believe he was making $800K. Or $600K, somewhere in that range. So, this is a guy, man, he's the Florida guy. There's no way you win this battle. But you got to take your swing. Obviously, he was a really good offensive lineman on those Tebow teams. He's a guy that is really experienced. Obviously, the Penn State offensive lines have been really good while he's been there. He's also had a really good Boston College O-line in 19 that had that one guy that was like almost a Heisman winner there at running back, I remember. And he's developed a ton of first-round NFL picks. So he's the home run hire. If you can get him, it's totally knocked it's knocked into the stratosphere if you get this guy, literally. He's an elite recruiter. He's an elite coach. And the meter says it. He's a 45.5 out of 50. He just is. Everything is a 9.5 across the board. Technique, experience, recruiting, scheme fit, affordability is the only one that's not good. I keep forgetting to put that lower instead of higher when it's bad. Either way, though, even if it does bump him down a point or two, he's easily probably if you could put these guys all on a list, there's only one guy that beats him out, maybe two, and that's Garen Justice, right? Garen Justice is the only guy that might beat Trautwein out, and that's because he's a West Virginia guy. I don't know if he's as good as Trautwein is from a teaching standpoint, X's and O's standpoint. He's as expensive though. I'll tell you that. He's making a killing right now at SMU as their assistant head coach, offensive line coach, and co-offensive coordinator. I think he's got 3 titles there. So he's a guy that you'd have to throw the world at to get. Now, it would be the home run of all home runs. It'd be like getting Zac Alley from Oklahoma in a lot of ways. And SMU has had a really good offensive line the last couple of years. Hard edge meter, it's a 47 out of 50. If you can get it, you've knocked it into the stratosphere again. It would truly be a home run hire that everybody across the country would praise. And the offensive line would change for the better, no doubt. Not to mention all the portal guys from SMU that could come along. You just never know. There's only one guy here that I could see that might be able to rival it. Sam Pittman is a guy that has been an elite offensive line coach for a long time. Now, was he a great head coach? He was average. He's about a Neil Brown head coach, right? But, I mean, is Neil Brown about a bad offensive coordinator? Most people would say no. The elite units he had at Georgia, oh, my God. Those Georgia offensive lines that he had, so freaking elite. But they also had elite players, you know. So he's making a lot of money to not coach right now. His assistant at Georgia, he was making $900K. So, you know, you're in the millions range here for a guy like this. He's an elite recruiter, one of the best recruiting head coaches in the country. So you do have to consider that for him. He's also a really good offensive line coach. I would put him right there into that 45 to 47 range. It would be a home run hire, obviously. Do I think it's possible? No, I don't. But it is somebody you at least have to call. And if you've got the money, then hey, you do it. But you know, and he knows so many players that are in the portal. Can you imagine how many players Arkansas has lost to the portal? It would be a lot. So there's a ton of benefits to it if you could do it. Last one I've got here. I have a hard time saying his last name. Jim Michalczik, I think it is how you said. Jim Michalczik. But I can't say it. I know it's not pronounced like it looks, but he's the Michigan State offensive line coach. I don't know what's going to happen for him there, but goodness gracious, he's so good. He's so good, right? You look at his coaching experience, Michigan State since 2024. He was at Oregon State for those elite offensive lines they had. Remember the offensive line they had in 2022 and 2023? I mean, they were freaking elite, man. They won 10, 11 games there. Then he was Arizona. I think did he cross over with Rod there? I can't remember. But he was also at Cal. But he's been all over the country. Right now at Michigan State, he's making $1 million, man. So, you know, that's double what you're paying Bicknell. He's worth it. And he crossed over with Rich Rod at Arizona. That's the tie-in. That's what I forgot about. So, you know, obviously it would be a premium hire, probably the highest rated one you could get outside of the other two I mentioned. He's right there with Trautwein, Garen Justice. I like Rick Trickett as well. It's just the age. It messes with my head. Let's go to break really quick. We'll come right back. We have to talk about some playoff performers, guys, for West Virginia that are just crushing it right now. Right after the break, we'll be right back with those two. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. With FanDuel, guys, if you didn't know, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and everything feels different. That's why it makes live betting fun with FanDuel. And it makes it so exciting, too. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place live bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, momentum swing, and every highlight moment is for you. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, the defense tightens up, or the momentum play flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads, money lines adjust instantly. Player props, man. You want to update those as guys heat up, they can do it. And you can bet your next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets all season long with FanDuel. The game moves fast, and so can you. All right, guys, last segment here in segment 3. Thank you guys so much for joining in. We had a good time today. Man, I just think there's a lot to discuss as far as, um, the offensive line. I don't even know, for the most part, I don't even know what you do as far as how do you, you know, how do you replace a guy? I mean, it can be rough, especially when they're as good and as well renowned as a guy like Matt Moore was, or somebody like Rick Trickett. Like, I get it, they're hard to replace. I'm not trying to pretend like offensive line guys are easy to come by necessarily, but we have to do it. And I just think that Bicknell, it's time to say goodbye. Hopefully we do. Playoff results, though. We had two guys in playoffs today, Jaron Hughley and Amari Latimer, and both made huge plays in big wins. For Cardinal Newman, we're going to check out a 69-yard touchdown run from Jaron Hughley, however you say it, that Jaiwan Sider, who is his uncle, reposted just earlier today. So here he is on the zone read and just breaks that thing down the sideline. And these are really talented teams that he's playing against here. Here, we'll watch it one more time. You see nice little pickup on the read. Great block by the left tackle. And he's off to the races. So great job by Hughley there. And he also had a bomb in the game, 69 yards, I think it was. But he didn't have a great offensive game overall. But it wasn't up to get him a 17-14 win in a state championship, baby. So great job by him. No injuries. We're going to get him in healthy and early. Let's see what kind of noise he can make this year. The elite performer of the day, though, has to be Amari Latimer. He had 2 runs today. I just have to show you. Unbelievable ability. He reminds me of Emmitt Smith in some ways with his ability to stay balanced. I think it's just contact balance is just so elite. And it is his acceleration. He's so big as far as thick. It doesn't look like he's accelerating as fast as he is, but he is. Guys, I really think this is the most talented running back we've ever brought in. I really do. Here he is on a play in their game where, they had him bottled up to this point. I watched this whole game. They had him bottled up, man. And he broke free right here on this play, and watch him follow his blocks, and then just watch that acceleration. It's so damn good. Let's watch that one more time. The acceleration as he comes around, and great play here, right? You pull 2 guys, he follows them, and he's so patient, kind of like Le'Veon Bell in a way. Watch the patience here. Great patience. I'm off my block and I'm gone. Outrun, and look at him outrun those angles. He's just so talented. I'm telling you guys, this is such a good player. And then this play here on the zone read, watch him absolutely just thump this guy. Boom. Get off me. He looks like a man playing against kids. Let's watch it again. Off the zone read around the outside, and then boom. Beautifully done. He's something special. We're lucky to have him. I don't know what we had to pay to get him, but I really do believe he's going to be a day one. Maybe not day one. Part of me wants to say day one. I think by the time we get to game 6, I predict he'll be the starter. I love him that much. The only way that doesn't happen is if we bring somebody elite in that I'm just blown away by. Then there's guys out there for sure, but Baxter from Texas or somebody like that maybe, but this kid's going to get his. That's just not a matter of if, but when. Really impressed by Amari Latimer. Yeah, he's got some Earl Campbell in him. That's right, Jerry. All right. So obviously there's a lot going on here. As far as with the content today, thank you so much for joining in on this. I just got one last thing to ask you guys. Since over 100 of you guys stuck around to the end, we have the Everydayers Club now, which is something that's really, really cool that we're doing. And I would really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. So what it is it's a community, right? But you get perks for joining. So if you want to be an everyday listener, which means you're the truest fan, right? If you want to be an everydayer, we're going to reward you for being an everydayer. It's that simple. If you never miss an episode or rarely miss an episode, make it official. If you want to join the Everydayer Club and go ad free, you can go ad free. You can also access our members only Discord and more, all built for our most loyal fans. So I'm going to put that link in the chat and hit send now. I'm also going to put the link in the chat box after the show and pin it to the top of the page. So if you're listening to this on audio and you want to come over to the YouTube channel, Locked On West Virginia, and check that out, please do so. We would really appreciate it. It means a lot to join the Everydayer Club, and you'll be in a basically another Discord with me, and I will be more active in it. So that kind of thing, so appreciate you guys so much for going in here. Somebody asking about Greg Frey. Yeah, listen, there's just so many names, you can only pick so many. I have no clue which direction they'll go if Bicknell's out. I'm just sure. I'm certain of one thing. I believe Bicknell will be out at some point. I just don't think it's a matter of when, not if, for me on him. I would be totally shocked. And I'll get on here and say I was wrong if he doesn't happen. But the people I've spoken to believe it's happening. I believe it's happening at some point. They had to get through signing day. I mean, that's just the way it works. You got to do it that way. I'm not saying it's fair to the kids, but in this day and age, guys aren't committing to coaches necessarily anyways, as much as, or at least position coaches. It's more like head coaches. So, but yeah, guys, I appreciate you for joining in. I'm a little bit late on this one, or not late, but I'm going over. Got to jump out of here. Like the video when you leave, please. Subscribe if you're new around here. You like the content. We go live twice a day, every single day, 7 days a week. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Do us a favor. Check us out over on Locked On Big 12 as well. And we will talk to you on the next one there, guys. Thank you so much. And don't forget to cue them country roads.